From a player's perspective, what was this week like? How many people were in and out of practice with sickness, and how did y'all know who was going to be able to play?
This week, I felt like practice was pretty good. You know, we had up energy. We was practicing the tempo really well, and some people we didn't find out wasn't going to play until literally the end of probably like the Thursday before Friday. So, you know, that's how that came along. But this week was really good in practice. You know, I felt the energy. We had very competitive days against our defense because we start going against our defense at the beginning of practice now, so that we could get that fast tempo going. So I feel like that was positive for us.
We'll stay on the front row and go to Cole.
Layden, with two different style of quarterbacks in Haynes and Connor, how difficult is it for you to go through the process of knowing what they're going to be doing in the offense, especially when you don't know if one's going to be playing before the game?
You know, we really don't, as an offensive line, you really don't pay attention to the style of quarterback you have. The thing about it is you have to block for your quarterback. That's the thing. That's your job. You have to block for the quarterback. You have to protect the quarterback so that he could get his job done.
We'll go back behind the lights on the right side. And then
Layden, in terms of the success y'all had as an offense in the first half versus the struggles in the second half, was it something that Florida did different defensively, or was it as simple as getting behind the sticks?
I believe both. You know, I believe they came out the half with something different, and then we was just shooting ourselves in the foot as so-called, you know, making MAs, making mistakes, not bumping off some stuff. In the run game, we had some plays that really could have hit for a big yardage, but we just didn't execute the blocks or something happened, you know.
we'll stay back behind the lights and go to the left side.
Layden, I think I asked you last week about the disappointment. I'm sure it just continues to build, but can you talk about just how you guys are able to keep your chins up even though things aren't going your way right now?
You keep your chins up by just the pride of yourself, you know, as a person, of faith, of battles that you're going through, because you know you're going through tough times right now. You know, you never fold during tough times because that means you're a weak-minded person. And I feel like this team is not a weak-minded team at all. That's why we keep fighting every single time we face adversity. And I feel like that's the reason why we keep our heads up. You just have to take stuff like this under the chin. Even though it's like a repetitive thing that's happening, you know, we just have to bear down and figure out what's wrong. That's the main thing to a solution you got to find. You know, for a problem, you got to find a solution.
We'll come back to the front row on the right side to Cole.
Layden, Devon only had 5 rushing attempts in the entire second half. Did you notice anything different that they were doing up front? Were they running different stunts? Were they utilizing more so of an interior block? What was mainly the difference of the defensive line?
I could say the stunts the second half, they came more. You know, they started figuring out what stunts will work against us and how to get us off levels, especially on our offensive line. You know, they just brought more stunts the second half.
And then not for anything because of, we get a team bonding, but for the seniors that are going to go out in this year, how important is it for you guys to close out on the right note, regardless of bowl eligibility or whatnot?
Because you don't want to finish bad. You know, you always want to finish strong no matter what spot you're in. You want to have a strong finish and hope that leads into greater things for this team and this university.
We'll stay on the front row on the right side to Travis.
Yeah, Layden, kind of piggyback off what he said. Does it surprise you that there's not more just straight-up design runs for Devon in the second half with what he was able to do in the first half?
It doesn't surprise me. You know, we just do what our coaches say. You know, we're not too worried about the play calls. Our job is to do what our coaches want to do and what they feel like will be basically executed against the team we're playing.
And was Devon one of those guys that was a little bit sick through the week? And how gutty of an effort was it for him to go out and do what he did? I
believe so. He was one of the guys that was sick this week. But you know, he's a battler. He's a guy that takes on the responsibility, and he just balled. That's what he does. Is in his DNA, and he's a great asset for this team.
We'll stay on the right side and go to Justin on the fifth row.
Layden, you guys had a chance coming out of the locker room to extend your lead and kind of really put your foot on the gas, kind of like they did later in that frame. So how disappointing was it that you weren't able to do that, and then also you weren't able to kind of sting their momentum when they got going? You know,
it's always hard stopping momentum, but you have to make sure that you do your job, not anything special. Just do your job and do your part, your individual assignment to make sure that you can stop the momentum. And coming out the halftime, you know, that was hard because, you know, we had a heck of a first half moving the ball, getting down the field, and just making big plays. In the second half, we just didn't execute how we executed in the first half. We would focus on having a fast start. Now we have to focus on maintaining that fast start going into the second half.
We'll go back behind the lights to Daryl on the left side.
Layden, I know you guys have dealt with a lot of injuries this year, but then this week to have the illnesses that you had, did you just kind of go, man, we cannot catch a break?
Stuff like that gets rough, because you're just facing a lot of adversity, but you have to pull through that adversity, and you have to come through that adversity at the end of the day.
We'll go back to the front row on the right to Cole.
Layden, it feels like on a 5-game losing streak, it's easy just to lay down your head and call it quits, but you continue to be positive with your message and you continue to have this optimism for this team. Do you think that as a leader and someone who has been a starter for multiple years, it's your duty to make sure that you're keeping this positive momentum for the locker room?
Oh, of course, but that's everybody's duty to make sure we keep this locker room positive and keep this team positive. If one's down, we have to pick that person up and we have to let them know, hey, we just got to keep grinding, keep our foot on the pedal, and just keep going. That's the thing about this team that a lot of people probably don't see under wraps. We make sure that we go after each other every day in practice. We make sure we're making each other better. Our job is to make our teammate better, backups, all of that. Because just like today, you've seen we have to use our backups most of the time because a lot of our key players was down, but that's still no excuse. At the end of the day, we have to make sure that they're ready to take on their job.
All right, it looks like that's it. Thank you, Layden.
God bless.